in how Jamaica manages access to potable water. That transformation isn't by accident, it isn't because somebody willed it. It's because of deliberate, strategic focus and significant investment which is being made by your government. This infrastructure that we are launching today, or commissioning rather, is a very important piece of infrastructure. It is because this infrastructure will ensure that what used to prevail, which was 750,000 gallons a day being supplied to this area, has now surpassed 1.5 million gallons a day being supplied to this area. But what does that mean? What does the $54 million investment that we commemorate today mean? It means that over 10,400 approximately, persons living in the Rhine Park and Barrett Hall area now have reliable water supply. That's 2,600 households that are now benefiting from this reliability, from this investment. And there are those in other spaces who don't want us to talk about this sort of investment, who don't want us to acknowledge that we are fixing the problems that have existed throughout their entire tenure. I have no intention of being shy in talking about the work that is being done by the National Water Commission, in talking about the significant work being done by Rural Water Supply Limited, talking about the work being led by MEGJC, because it is truly transformational. We, through these investments over the last 5 years, have improved water access, reliability, and resilience for over 150,000 Jamaicans. There has never been an administration or a term of government that can claim to have supplied, or rather in such a manner, that improved water supply for 150,000 Jamaicans. It is truly unprecedented, and we will not be distracted by some of the political nonsense that I hear being spouted. But I do think it's important to deal with two matters, because whether it is mischief or sheer vulgarity, I think it's important that the public be aware. A few weeks ago, Prime Minister, you'll recall, we commissioned a system in Mason Hall, St. Mary. Well, I'm happy to report, Prime Minister, you now have customers on the system that they said was not ready. They have meters in home and they're receiving water 24 hours a day. And yes, Prime Minister, they have water in the shower. So for all of those who were trying to create some sort of mischief, I can't even understand why they would approach it like that. I think it's important that the public be aware that NWC now has customers on that system. There was quite a bit made as to whether or not we should have used a household to commission systems. Generally, the Water Commission doesn't go into people's homes to commission systems. We set up a temporary system where we're operating to show that the lines are charged. So yes, you do use temporary systems for commissionings. But I think for those here, I need you to understand that the pumps won't lift up. The tank up the hill won't lift up. The other tanks that are being built won't lift up. We are building resilient infrastructure for you using the revenue of the Water Commission and your tax dollars, not borrowing to facilitate this. There was another issue which has created quite a bit of concern in the public, which I will deal with in a particular manner in another space. But just to be very clear for those who are here, in my hand is NWC bottled water, meaning bottled pipe water. And I can assure you, here in Mobay, those in Kingston, those anywhere in Jamaica, the water from NWC is safe to drink and is the envy of many of our Caribbean neighbors and is in high demand right across the world. And it is the reason, or one of the reasons rather, that Minister Bartlett uses when he goes to lobby for more ships to come for our cruise terminals. Because they come and buy Jamaican water because foreigners trust our water. Now, what I would just say in closing on this matter, because as I said, I'm going to deal with it fulsomely in another space. If the scientists and technicians at the Ministry of Health tell you there's no problem, and the technical staff at the Water Commission tell you that there isn't a problem, then I don't know which politician can tell you that there is a problem, ladies and gentlemen. But as I said, we'll deal with it fulsomely on Sunday. The other thing I want to update you on, Prime Minister, I had a very good meeting with some critical stakeholders in the private sector this morning in Westmoreland. And for the benefit of those here, we wish to announce to you that the Western Water Resilience Project will enter the construction phase on May 21st. We updated the hotel sector and the Chamber of Commerce this morning of same. Now, for those who don't remember what that project is, for years this area has been plagued with water challenges. And yes, this $54 million is one of the nodes in fixing that. But there's a critical element, Mayor, and you need to contemplate this for the developments that you will approve. And you know, with Andrew Michael Holness at the helm, you'll have many developments to approve. We will be changing the transmission mains from the Martha Bray treatment plant going all the way to the center of Montego Bay. We will also be changing the transition mains from Lucy to the western end of Westmoreland. This will build in a level of resilience that has not been seen in Trelawney, St. James, Hanover, and Negril for decades, perhaps ever. We will be spending $28 billion over the next 3 financial years, and we will start with the initial investment of $5 billion, and we will enter the construction phase on May 21st with a large groundbreaking. So please clear your schedule, Your Worship, Councillor, and of course, MP will expect you to be there. Because for the numerous hotels you've discussed with me, I assure you, you will have the water. For the residents who will move to the new scheme that Prime Minister just broke ground for, we assure you, you will have water. For those who have lived in Barrett Hall and Ryan Park for decades, you now have the water. Go and tell the story that when we say you will get the water, you will get the water. We will make the investments, and our word is our bond. God bless.
Thank you, Minister. We appreciate that very timely and important update. Come on, guys, put your hands together one more time. We're getting to one of the most important parts of the afternoon ceremony. But as we allow you to digest, and those who took a sip of their water will know how good it is just to pause sometimes. And then we invite young Mr. Nickel Hyde to come and to share a selection with us as our item for this afternoon. Please make him welcome.
Greetings, everyone. I've come too far to look back again. There is nothing behind me. All the pleasures I've used to love have all faded from view. There's a new day ahead for me. All my heartache is over, for I left it at Calvary, where my new life began. I've come too far to look back. My feet have walked through the valley. mountains, cross rivers, desert places I've known, but I'm nearing the home shore. The redeemed, the rejoicing, heaven's angels are singing. I've come too far to look back. Look around, there's unhappiness. Some see no reason for living. Life will give you a broken dream, full of sorrows and fear. Turn around, don't look back again. Face the new day before you. Place your heartaches in Jesus' hand, for He can mend broken dreams. I've come too far to look back. My feet have walked through the valley. I've climbed mountains, crossed rivers, desert places I've known, but I'm nearing the home shore. The redeemed, the rejoicing, heaven's angels are singing. I've come too far to look back, but I'm nearing the home shore. The redeemed, the rejoicing, heaven's angels are singing. I've come too far to look back, too far to look back.
Come on, put your hands together one more time. Two things struck me was the youthfulness of him pulling out something that has real classical feel to it. Not true. It's a throwback. And the other thing that caught me was it almost sounds like a waterman testimony. That you've been running pipe for a while and you pass Rosal Main Road and you pass Pump 1 and you pass Pump 2 and you reach up to Edmund Ridge and you look back and you say, I come too far. I have to run some more pipe up to Little East and work. Well, yeah, here we go. Come on, can we get an amen in the house today? Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's a reflection of life that, and the link between water and life it cannot be overstated. So much so that somebody went and even said that thousands have lived without something else called love. But not one soul can live without water. That's all I will say for now, because the time for me to shut up is now. And we invite Dr. the Most Honorable Prime Minister of Jamaica, Mr. Andrew Holness.
Thank you, Master of Ceremonies, Delano Williams. for your conduct of the program so far. Let me also thank Pastor Hamilton for his invocation. Let me acknowledge your hard-working minister without portfolio in the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation with responsibility for water, the Honorable Matthew Samuda. I'm going to acknowledge the world-famous Minister of Tourism, but his substantive post that we acknowledge him for today is as the Member of Parliament for this area in St. James East Central. Your hard-working mayor, Councillor, His Worship, Councillor Richard, Mayor of Montego Bay, and other members of the St. James Municipal Corporation who are here. Mr. Kevin Carr and his team. Mr. Kevin Carr is the acting president of the National Water Commission. And let me acknowledge everyone else who is in the audience and the members of the community who are here. It is always a special occasion when we gather to celebrate real and tangible and meaningful progress in the lives of people. Today's commissioning of Phase 1 of the Rhine Park Water Supply Improvement Project is one such moment. This is not just an infrastructure upgrade. It is a powerful signal of this government's commitment to inclusive development, to modern service delivery, and above all, to keeping our promises. Water is not a privilege. It is a human necessity. And delivering that necessity is the responsibility of the government. And the government takes it very seriously. And this is why I am proud to say that over the last 5 years, we have invested unprecedented sums in water infrastructure across Jamaica. As of this fiscal year, we can say that over 150,000 Jamaicans now have improved water supply because of our deliberate, focused, and sustained interventions. This level of investment has not been seen in water since the 1980s. $22 billion in public investments and $14.2 billion in private investment through public-private partnerships have been mobilized to build a modern, resilient, and equitable water supply network. The Phase 1 works that we are commissioning today here in Rhine Park are part of that national push, but they are also deeply local. With an investment of $54.58 million, this phase has directly improved water supply for over 10,400 residents across 2,600 households spanning the communities of Rhine Park, Barrett Town, Palmyra, Edmond Ridge, Little East, Spot Valley, Roseville, Cornwall, and Mount Zion. So you see, the project, just the Phase 1, will impact several communities through the installation of 5 relift pumps, upgraded power infrastructure, and newly constructed motor control centers. We have laid the foundation for consistent, efficient water supply to these growing communities These upgrades mean faster recharge times for distribution tanks, fewer trucked water deliveries, and more reliable services to homes and businesses. But remember, this is only phase 1. Phase 2, currently in the planning stage, is another bold and forward-looking initiative with an estimated cost of just under $1 billion Jamaican dollars. It will include over 5 meters of new 400 millimeters pipelines from the Martha Brae trunk main to Rhine Park, 2 brand new pump stations, new bolted steel storage tanks, and advanced hydraulic modeling to optimize pressure and distribution. When complete, it will not only serve current residents, it will future-proof this corridor for housing, tourism, and commercial developments for decades to come. I've just finished breaking ground for a new 1,500 housing development in Barrett Hall. That's the name of the place, Ed. A lovely place. Extremely beautiful. It's a lovely place. And I'm sure that the people who are fortunate enough to be able to get one of those houses, they will thoroughly enjoy. But what I'm pleased with is that they will not have a water problem. They will not have a water problem. Because between phase 1 and phase 2, this entire corridor will be properly charged with water supply. Now, this era Rhine Park is part of a much larger transformation taking place across St. James. Since last year, the NWC has invested more than $400 million across projects including Moy Hall, Endeavour, Fairfield, Rosemont, and Railway Lane. In partnership with JSIF, we are also bringing modern water infrastructure to Norwood, Salt Spring, and from Shettlewood to Anchovy, reaching thousands more. Now, I know that the people in Shettlewood are a little bit disgruntled because the Shettlewood to Anchovy project has stalled a bit. Started, they have dug trenches, laid some pipes, but a few weeks ago I had visited a lovely community called Roehampton, and I keep telling this story that I was confronted by some residents, and you know we can be assertive as Jamaicans sometimes, and one resident asserted that if we don't get any water, no vote. And of course, I have dealt with that already because you really should vote for water. Right? That is what you should do. You should vote for water. But there was also, you always have a diverse group of citizens, of electors, of residents. And there are some who will say I'm withholding my vote, some will say I'm changing my vote. And some will say, Prime Minister, as one young lady did, she pointed out to me, she said, I am 33 years old, and in my lifetime, we never had water in the community. So there is what I call the reasonable middle. Reasonable people who stop and think and don't act on emotions. She says, Prime Minister, I work in a supermarket in Montego Bay. And I have to use, I think she said she spent something like between $9,000 and $10,000 per truckload of water. And she has to do that, maybe once a week. And that's expensive. And so whilst she appreciates that we have spent a significant amount of resources to bring the water there, the project having stalled would have dashed her hopes that in short order she would have water in her shower. Because I know every Jamaican, when they go in the shower, they want to say, shower, shower. And so she would want to be able to do that. But there is a challenge always with infrastructure. As there was a challenge with the Shuttlewood to Anchovy project. And so, having had the admonition and the threat, but also moved by the reasoning of this young lady, who for her lifetime never had water, who is expecting to have water now and seeing it delayed, I went back to my desk and I mentioned it to Minister Somuda. The project was not only in the NWC, a part of the project is through JSIF, the Jamaica Social Investment Fund, and with the lobbying as well of the Member of Parliament, Minister Homer Davis, we were able to resolve the issues facing that project. And I am told, just as I was sitting there, I received a note from the Managing Director of JSIF, and I'm hoping that this will be confirmed by the Acting President of NWC, that by Monday, work will restart with the transportation of pipes back to the site and the continuation of excavation and laying works. So if that young lady is listening now, I want to say to her, it is because of you, not because of the threat of no vote or the threat of change vote, but because I understand. And it's not just sympathy, it's respect. It's not just, trying to win votes. It's about preserving the dignity of people. The truth is that when you talk to this 35-year-old lady, what she's effectively saying is that, my generation is expecting a different standard of living, where water is expected to be in my house. Now, not every house can have water, but at least we need to bring water close to you so that you have options as to how to get the water. And the truth is that this community is not such a remote area that we couldn't bring water to them. And that's the objective of the government. The objective of this government is to bring water to the vast majority of Jamaicans. And that bringing of water means we're going to make sure that there is a water main that runs close to your house. And if you live in an extremely remote area, then we have other solutions that we will put in place to help you to get water. But for a country like Jamaica, the water infrastructure, much of which was built out in the last 50 years, we not only have to go build new infrastructure, but we are going to have to repair the old infrastructure that exists. So we're doing the two things simultaneously. Providing water for communities that never had water before, that's new infrastructure. And we are upgrading, renewing, and rebuilding existing infrastructure. And this administration, more than any other administration, has been doing this consistently and doing it cost effectively and efficient. So I want to commit to the Jamaican people that yes, we understand the challenges you have with water, but I can't bring myself to make wishful promises to you. I can't bring myself to tell you that, you know, with the snap of a finger, water going to be in every house overnight. Because that would be telling you that horses can fly. The sad thing, however, is that since we are in the promising season, there are many Jamaicans buying the promise that they will get a horse that can fly. So, nationally, we are now commissioning and breaking ground for new systems almost every week. You know, week before last, I was breaking ground for water in St. Mary. The week before that, I was in St. Elizabeth. And we keep doing it. You know, we have so many water projects. The minister is complaining to me that he can't get a time in my diary to break ground, commission, or turn on. And you may be wondering, why is it necessary to do these ceremonies? You know, again, I need to level with the Jamaican people. In this battle for your minds, there are people who all they do is figure out how can we put misinformation in the public domain to mislead you. Now, 2 weeks ago, myself and Minister Samuda and the Member of Parliament for the area in Western St. Mary, we turned on a water supply, again in a community, Mason Hall. The community is over 250 years old. And they never had piped water in that community. So we laid pipes and made the connections and installed pumps and all kinds of things. So water is now in the community. Now, when you lay the pipe, because it's now a utility, meaning that it is NWC that is laying the pipe, like every other customer everywhere else in Jamaica, you go and you apply for a meter. And the residents have to do that. When we turn on the pipes, as Minister Samuda explained, it would be very intrusive for us to go into somebody's house and have a ceremony in their house to show that there is water in the community. So what they do, they give a temporary connection to the main that is run to show that water is there. Now, some smart person with devious intent to mislead puts out a video to say, see, them a take up back the pipe where them lay. Now, the mentality, the kind of people who do that are the same people who actually did that. That in the election for Shahini Robinson, God rest her soul, in 2002, I believe, 2001, I saw for myself that just before the election, they came and put down pipes and told people that, yes, you're going to get water. And what's the place named, Matthew? Lime Bottom in Ocho Rios. And before the election could be finished, the night of the election, they came and took up back the pipes. Now, that's the mentality. Now, why would you do that? Because there are people who would believe that. Because there's always a thing called confirmation bias. If you see something that you already agree with or that's your position, you're going to believe it. So there are people who won't check, who won't research, who won't go and ask questions. They'll just accept it because it confirms their bias. And there are others who are totally innocent, that they really don't know and they accept what is presented to them at face value. Now you tell me, which political organization is respectful of you? Is it the political organization that will create a false video to mislead you, to feed into your known biases? Or is it the political organization who will give you the facts? And that's what each Jamaican has to consider. With all the fake news that is being created and circulated, to create a certain perspective, to ride and rile up discontent with falsehood, to play on your emotion and to trick you. Which political party then really respects you and cares about you, if that is what they're doing? And every voter needs to ask themselves this. When I saw the video, I could have ignored it. But I said, you know what? We have ignored the lies for far too long. And every lie that they tell will be exposed. And therefore, we have these events. Because for everyone who said they don't have water, for everyone who said nobody is doing anything, we will respond to show what we are doing. Because we have projects for days to show. I could be doing a groundbreaking, a commissioning, and opening for the next 6 months, every week. I'm looking at the NWC staff, and I know they are saying, boy, please don't do that, Mr. Prime Minister. I know they are saying that. Right? We have more than 98. We have over 100 and odd projects that I could go and break ground for everyone. Because for every lie that they tell, yes, there are people without water. Of course. It's not just yesterday. It's not just today. As I pointed out to you, the young lady was honest enough, reasonably enough to say for about 35 years of existence, she never had water. The people in Mason Hall, that community is a community that emerged out of a plantation. Never had piped water. So yes, there are communities still in Jamaica that don't have water. But that is not the full picture. The full picture is that the government has accelerated the pace at which it is delivering water. And if someone were to come and tell you, yeah, vote for me and the snap of a finger you're going to get water, they don't respect you. Because they think that your thinking is shallow. And you can be told anything and you believe it. So I just had to use this opportunity to point that out to the thinking Jamaicans and to the unthinking Jamaicans as well. And we invite you to join the reasonable middle Jamaica, the reasonable thinking population, to dismiss the flying horses. You want a flying horse? Another groundbreaking initiative is the NWC's amnesty program. In November 2024, we extended a lifeline to those who had been disconnected from water service for more than 6 months. Through this program, pensioners, path beneficiaries, and persons living with disabilities received up to 100% reprieve on outstanding balances, and other customers received up to 50%. Let me pause here and take a sip of the NWC's. Let me make sure you see it properly. The NWC's bottled tap water, meaning it comes from the pipe. As of March 14th, over 33,000 customers are engaged with the amnesty. So 33,000 persons made inquiry checks, called the NWC trying to find out about whether or not they qualify and how to go about receiving the benefit. 6,876 reconnections have been completed. And another 8,535 are in progress, meaning that they have passed the inquiry stage and they are now in the process of being connected. NWC has collected, as a result of this amnesty, $473 million to date. And written off $1.18 billion in debt from households in need. This is not a promise. This is the reality. Government looks at its books, it sees what it can do without impacting our fiscal responsibility, which would mean if we did that, more tax on you. What it does now is that we are able to bring more people on to the system who were locked off because they owed money. And this is a great thing to do. You know, 6,876 households now have water again. And another 8,535 on their way. And you still have up to what, the end of May? You have up to the end of May. So I encourage everyone to go and take advantage of this. We have some other big projects to come. I won't go through all of them here. But one of the big projects which I'll be back in this area very soon is the Northwestern Water. What's the proper name for it, madam?
Western Water Resilience Project.
Yes, it's called the Western Water Resilience Project. Now let me just quickly wrap that up. You would hear me talk about this word infrastructure. Infrastructure is an important thing. It's big. You cannot develop a country without infrastructure. And there are some large infrastructure that we put in many years ago, like some of the big pipes that run from Martha Bray in Trelawney, runs right through St. James and connect up back in Hanover up to some parts of Negril. That infrastructure is old and leaking, breaks frequently. That is going to take about $28 billion to repair. Think of that, $28 billion to repair. This government is going to do that. And we're going to build the infrastructure better than was there before. Bigger pipes with far more sophisticated systems to control it, far more sophisticated pumps, and obviously we have better technology to lay the pipes so that they will last longer, and of course better pipes that will last longer. So I'm going to be back here sometime in May, close to the end of May, and at that time I'll say more about that. So for all the negative people who, that's what you thrive on, to believe that nothing go on and nothing happen, and you consume all the nonsense that is being said, give yourself a chance to feed yourself with the truth. Explore the other perspective. Don't only consume the lies that are being fed to you. Consume things that you can verify, that you can check, that you can see happening in front of you. And there is always a perspective, even with facts. So, when I look at this bottle of water, for those people who are negative, they will look at the water and they will say that this bottle is half empty. Why? because their eyes are always cast to the negative. And there are others who will look at this and they will say, this bottle is half full. Why? Because their eyes are always cast up and positive. I encourage all Jamaica to be positive about yourself and your country. Choose Jamaica, and God bless you.
Thank you, Prime Minister. Ladies and gentlemen, we got some good news, not true? Yeah. And so we are going to start just after this to look at one of the achievements, and so we can get ready to move on to the other exciting stuff before the rain. We invite now for vote of thanks Councillor Mr. Anthony Murray, Councillor for the Rosal Division, to come with the official vote of thanks, and then I'll give you quick instructions where we need to step to. Please make him welcome.
All right, in the interest of time, please allow me to say our protocol observe and to welcome my Prime Minister once again to Baritown. 4 years ago, you were here, and you're back this afternoon. I will say we are blessed in Rosal. Please also let me acknowledge the presence of my Member of Parliament, the Honorable Edmund Bartlett, and my Mayor, Councillor Richard Vernon, and Minister Matthew Samuda. Let me say it's a privilege for me this afternoon to give the vote of thanks on behalf of the residents of Ryan Park, Barrington, Spat Valley, and all the other communities. Foremost, I want to express great gratitude to the Most Honorable Prime Minister, Dr. Andrew Honest, for his presence this year and his continued commitment to nation development, and in particular in improving essential services like water this afternoon. I also want to say special thanks to Minister Matthew Samuda, whose leadership in environmental and water resources had helped to initiate and champion this cause this afternoon. But most importantly, I want to say thanks to my Member of Parliament, my political father. Yes, he's my political father, and six-term general, for his advocacy. Yes, man, yes. His advocacy and hard work in ensuring that this afternoon is indeed a reality. So thanks, Minister Bartlett. I know this one was very dear to your heart, and a 20-year challenge has now been eroded. I'm going to share this video quickly. I remember one other day we were talking on the phone and I said, Minister, you know, I said the discussion changed from sir, we don't have no water till the water mash up the pipe. And we were talking, yes, so that was it. That was the change. So the conversation would have changed from lack of water to that the water is now too powerful, destroying the pipes. I want to say thanks also to the team from the National Water Commission for your dedication and technical expertise for bringing in this project to a completion. Your tireless effort has not gone unnoticed. Special thanks to the other agencies who would have helped to make this afternoon reality. I want to say thanks to the National Solid Waste Management Authority, Municipal Corporation, and all the other agencies who have worked hard. I want to say thanks to the residents of Barton who have come out this afternoon to support this event. And most importantly, I want to say thanks to the residents of Rosal Division, Barrington, for your patience, your understanding. And I want to say at this time now, we appreciate your understanding, and we are now here showering you with water. And it's fitting, it's not ironic that while we are here, the showers of blessing from above is coming down. Thanks very much to all the other persons who have not named personally. We want to say your effort has not gone unnoticed. And thanks very much. Have yourself a wonderful afternoon. God bless.
All right.